Back to Persona, which is continuing along at a glacial pace, mostly due to me not updating for weeks at a time, rather than the game itself. Oh well, what are you gonna do? Anyway, when left the main character, Morgana, and character who can literally not understand anything that's said to him, which just gets worse over time. They're trying to rescue a bunch of fake people from fake imprisonment by a ridiculous political cartoon of a villain. So, you know, I'm sure that this mission is going to go off without a hitch, and nobody's going to be disappointed in the outcome of this at all. Ugh. Anyway, got shadows talking to each other, which is sort of a weird thing. I mean, back in Persona 4 and Persona 3, it didn't even seem like shadows were conscious. Like, they were acting entirely on instinct, a faceless mass, the Heartless if you've ever played Kingdom Hearts. So the fact that they have to have a little round table here and figure out what's going on is strange. I mean, proper shadows of individual people were able to speak and apparently had a certain amount of sapience, but they also seem to just reflect what the actual person was thinking or saying at that point in time, rather than being characters by themselves. I guess what I'm saying is that there seems to be like maybe a little bit of an ethical conundrum when it comes to killing these guys if they are in fact intelligent. Something that I'm sure will not be addressed in this game at all, at any point in time. I mean, I guess they're all fiercely loyal to Kamoshida, so that makes them complicit in the atrocities being committed here? Again, I'm sure that this will not be addressed in any way at all. Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, it's not like, even on hard mode right now, it's not like I'm getting really too many opportunities to switch out my loadout or level up or anything like that. So I should be able to take whatever sort of battles they want to throw at me right now. Palace's security level. That's a new mechanic in the game. I'm guessing that what it's supposed to be is sort of the hard limit as to how long that you're able to stay in the palaces at this point. Because previously, when it came to dungeons in these games, you wouldn't get kicked out, but in Persona 3, for example, you would get tired, which just lowered your stats, blah, blah, blah. And then that would also make you sick the next day, so that the next time you went into the dungeon, you were worse off. In Persona 4, you just didn't have any way to restore SP, but if you had a very powerful sort of physical attacks, and you didn't get, hit by enemies at all and didn't need healing, then it didn't matter anyway. Point is that previously you could just deal with the stuff that you were given. It was a pretty minor sort of penalty, and you could grind to your heart's content. And it seems like now they've finally introduced some way where it's like, no grinding for you. Which, I mean, I gotta tell you, I don't really know why developers even bother with that. Grinding is its own punishment. I mean, NetHack realized that piece of information long ago, which is why the pudding farming punishment is the fact that you have to sit there and kill black puddings over and over and over. It's a fun thing. Yeah, stuff lowers as you kill enemies without being seen. Gotcha. I mean, I don't know. It's been like the length of the entirety of Lawrence of Arabia right now that I've been playing this game, and I haven't been able to freely explore dungeons in any way just yet, so we'll see how much longer it's going to take until that mechanic even becomes relevant. Going from a big armored figure into a bunch of little flower dudes. Transformation here is, as always, questionable. Of course, it does seem like you kind of force that on them by taking off their masks, but they also transform into that even if you're not. Oh, well, this is stuff I've always said before. Yeah, my English playthrough, I'm doing it on safety mode. It is pretty crazy just how much more damage that enemies deal to you, even in battles that you are literally forced to do. Which is why I think that in one of the upcoming fights, they might have maybe pushed the odds in your favor a little bit. But we'll be getting there soon enough. Good example of auto recover there, taking away nearly all of Morgana's SP, so... But again, the game is so ridiculously railroaded at this point in time that it doesn't matter. Also, yeah, you might have noticed that very clandestine cut. That was me not understanding where to go for like a full 20 seconds. I got no excuse. It's just how it happened. Something about the setup here. I mean, first off, that is a great banner. I love it. Love it. I do like seeing that they have some art assets around here. They could definitely use a few more. Maybe like throw some pictures on the wall. Of course, that's always been something with the dungeons being randomly generated in the, well, procedurally generated in the Persona series, where it always kind of feels like there's a little empty. Could have some more stuff here. Either way, this is again another very Bloodborne looking area. Especially for some reason, that specific staircase with like the little overlook next to it just reminds me of some area that I can't quite put my finger on from that game. I don't know. I would have something to say there, but I guess not. Again, you could have watched the entirety of Lawrence of Arabia in the time that I've been playing this game. So, commentary is going to be a little bit sparse for a time. I mean, you could distract them. That would probably not help at all. Oh wait, you have Chekhov's gun from earlier? The gun introduced in the first act of this play? Why, that's not going to be relevant at all right now. Maybe we could throw it at them. Well, good news for you, Ryuji. We are in a world of pure imagination, so anything can happen. That's not how this works at all. Again, political cartoon rules. Things are just a heightened form of reality. Kind of. There's also demons here. What a portrait. What? But that's crazy, Ryuji. Please not understand this at all. Thank you. You're so reliable. I should just like start putting up a counter of Ryuji doesn't get it. And there was Ryuji doesn't get it +1. Yes. Ryuji doesn't get it +2. All right. Now, obviously, a gun was used all the way back in the little tutorial in media res bit in the casino, so it's gonna be used here. But apparently, not actually a real gun because we're in Japan. I mean, it's not really the easiest thing to get. Hell, that was a huge plot point all the way back in the second Yakuza game. Be careful of how much imaginary ammo you have left. You might need to imagine up some more. How does that even work? I mean, by very arbitrary rules. That's the real answer to that question. All right. Yeah, screw it. Whatever. So, in other words, Morgana knew absolutely that this was going to work exactly like this. And he didn't want to say anything earlier about that or anything? Why did it take him until now to realize that this would be a functional weapon in this dungeon? Especially considering this actually looks real rather than the stupid slingshot that he's using, so I don't know. +3. I like my phrase, which is a dumb reference to Willy Wonka and the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Well, regardless, having a gun alone should be pretty useful, because I don't really think that any other shadows around here are going to be bringing pieces of their own. Besides, guns in the Megami Tensei series have always been ridiculously overpowered. I think I talked about that even in, the first episode of this series? Ryuji doesn't get it. +1. It's really just his entire character, isn't it? It's like, I don't understand stuff because, I don't know, I guess the developers want to use him as a cipher for the audience, and they think you're all dumb. Well, whatever. Main character definitely does understand it, though. And unfortunately, I can't make Ryuji get it, but that's actually a really good point, Ryuji. Ryuji makes a good point, +1. Gonna guess that that's gonna be a fraction of the other one. In other words, Morgana's pretty much just making this all up. I mean, a man after my own heart, really. Say things with authority, even if you're not entirely sure it's true. Makes you think like it makes people think that you're more educated than you actually are. Alright. I might not be able to control what Ryuji understands, but I can control him in battle. Been a standard sort of practice since Persona 4, because all the way back in Persona 3, every one of your teammates acted on their own, according to an AI pattern, which was incredibly frustrating. So, despite the fact that I think you still can just divvy up responsibilities, like, oh, be aggressive, or, oh, be healing. It's like, I'm just gonna set everybody to direct command every single time. And why am I supposed to be the one, being set here, the setting dudes, the whatever? Because, Morgana, you're clearly the most experienced. Okay, whatever, fine. Oh, you just have that air of main characterness about you, so whatever. Doesn't matter. Direct is clearly going to be the most useful thing, especially on higher difficulties like I'm doing right now. Oh, wow, just lay on that foreshadowing, thicker. I mean, it's that cupcake isn't entirely frosted just yet with foreshadowing. That's apparently the metaphor that I'm going to be using right now. Man, I really should have just cut all these tutorials out. There's so many of them. I'm like 15 minutes into the video, and I don't think we've gotten any actual plot advancement, just more tutorials. Yeesh. Now, and that was actually something that I was thinking about when, how am I going to approach this episode? It's like, what if I just cut out all the tutorial stuff? Like I did with that battle right there. And it says like 100-hour game. It wouldn't be the worst thing to maybe, cut off a little bit of the chaff. I don't know. I mean, regardless, with editing out all the battles and probably a lot of the repeated stuff, for example, hey, I started today and I didn't do anything except ground out my intelligence or something. At least turn like a 100-hour game into a 70-hour game. I don't think I'm going to be getting around a whole lot of this dialogue. Alright, yeah, let's just fight these guys and whatever. A new technique? Should have just said all pass to see what Morgana would say, but it's probably like, no, I'm going to teach you anyway. Shut up and learn, right now. After all, seeing is, whatever. Japanese phrases and all that. Yep, it's an all-out attack. Hit an enemy with a weakness, get him knocked down, and in previous games, it was a massive amount of damage to all enemies in the battle. This time, it's an instant kill attack. Now, considering that this is the more difficult mode that you could choose here, I'm thinking that instant kills might be more useful than just beating down an enemy most of the time. Besides, it's also a good exploitation of the whole press turn system that's been in the game since back in Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. It's been just refined and adjusted slowly over time until we finally reached Persona 5 here. So might as well do it just so I don't have to fall into the old like SNES RPG holy trinity of buff, attack, heal. You know, make it a little bit more interesting. That said, you're really going to see it anyway because I'm going to cut out most of the regular battles in the game. Hey. Also pretty stylish. And just a ridiculous spray of blood coming from that single fairy. I mean... Again, I'm feeling bad for these characters that we're killing. Can't we just negotiate with them? I do think that's an actual mechanic in the game, but I don't really know. Usually I like to play through games entirely before I even start them, but 100-hour RPG in a language that I don't have a very good grasp on? Nah, I'm doing this one by the seat of my pants here. Yep, use it, don't use it, whatever. Sometimes you don't want to use it because if you hit an enemy twice with a weak attack, they will be stunned for a turn, which can be more useful than dealing a big amount of damage to them. And I assume that when you're against like a boss or something, it's a big amount of damage and not an instant kill. Then again, who knows? Maybe there'll be some reason why you want to stall out regular battles too eventually. It's yet to be seen. I'm trying desperately to not just follow one singular path, and that's not going to happen. Unless you want to take a look at those boxes. Yes! Which, hey, I mean, they're nice boxes and all, but it's not the best use of time. Now, I want to say it's Kamoshida's training hall, and he's being a little sarcastic, Ryuji. Or maybe he really loves beating on dudes. Whatever. He's clearly already been portrayed as a pretty evil guy. Would not surprise me at all if he maybe finds some delight in it. Hell, those squirrely controls. Can't even enter a door. Probably 20 feet in front of us. Nope, you are going down there. The game will not allow you to go anywhere else. As much as I try. I do like how it's set up like freaking zoo exhibits here or something. Gives you a really good shot of the ridiculous political cartoon that you're going to be watching. Then after we save these guys, we'll be able to save that man in an American flag suit being bedeviled by a goblin branded with high taxes. Which is pretty much exactly what we're looking at here. You know, if they did have, like, slave just emblazoned on their shirt, that would be... I mean, as if this isn't laying it on thick either, but... Well, I would find that hilarious. Oh, fret not for us, we are already damned. Alright. Morgana doesn't get it, +1. Actually, I'm probably missing a whole bunch of Ryuji doesn't get it too, but that's why I'm not making an actual counter for this. Yeah, it's interesting the palaces are just literally the exact opposite of Persona 4, where it was people's perception of something. This one is a person's perception of everything else. Flip the script on its head. It does make me wonder, though, if... Because previously, when you're talking about, like, rumors and lies and blah, 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 it's like... You didn't really have a very specific thing that you had to stick to. This is a single person. It makes me wonder if at some point in time we'll see a palace where the sort of thing, the accusations being levied at the person aren't actually what they were thinking, or it differs in one way or another, or they're just suspicious of someone. You know, it just, if you were to go into like a politician's head and it's like, oh yeah, I was definitely embezzling money from the people, but I did not have sex with that woman though. I know everybody thinks that, and I know that's why you came into my head in the first place. I'm a horribly corrupt person, but I'm not corrupt in that way. We'll make some sort of... I don't know. It just makes me wonder exactly what the rules of this are going to be, and if it's just always going to be a super evil, villainous type character that you're always going into the head of. Like, what if you have to go in the head of a guy and he's just sitting there in a chair, constantly being like, wait, no, I didn't do anything wrong. Everybody thinks I did something wrong, but I didn't. That'd be a fun, like, little, tiny dungeon, or not even a dungeon or something, but it feels like everything that, every foe that I'm going to be going up against is probably going to be the most ridiculous Saturday morning cartoon villain possible. Yeah, and how are you going to do that? You're going to tell him, oh, I used my incredible psychic powers to look into his heart of hearts, and... yeah. Or that, I guess. No, I misspelled asshole there. Oh, damn it, it's a full screen application. I can't switch to anything else without closing it. I never actually asked how Morgana ended up here. Which would be a very relevant thing right now, or at any point in time since talking to him, but... I mean, we did learn that he was originally human, and then basically became a cat due to things. Oh well, maybe later on. All right, let's get on to the menagerie of misery. I'm looking forward to it, because everything is going to be as ridiculous as this is. I guess I got too good of a look at it before. Don't get to see it again. That's good. Also, it's just the most standard teapot possible up there. I love that. Just a regular iron kettle. Well, I mean, this isn't technically abuse. Ryuji. Stop making excuses for the villain. Oh yeah, and you also got little characters you can talk to in the individual cells here too. Who are very downtrodden, blah blah blah. Boro Boro, as the text says. Ryuji doesn't get a count +1. Only 3. I mean, I could spend all day looking at the ridiculous things that Kamoshida's apparently doing. But no such luck. How do you even get a cannon in the school? Where are those cannonballs even going? They're just phasing into the wall. I mean, they're imaginary anyway, but if I have to use real bullets to shoot a gun, you'd think that those would be sticking around to a certain... whatever. Yeah, we've got a lot more game to get through here, Ryuji. Hurry it up. I got all of them memorized. I mean, sure, whatever. It's a weird way to put that, but... well, there's a lot of weird things happening in this game. I think that comes when you're paid by the word, like the scriptwriters apparently were. Old Charles Dickinson style. That's right, Doc Firebird, a quote worthy of Charles Dickinson. Or a script worthy of Charles Dickinson. Alright. Ryuji doesn't get it, and then Ryuji kind of gets it. +1. Ryuji begins slightly understanding. Still desperately trying to look for if there's anything extra to do. But that'll end the investigation for now. Next time, more